elegant listeners and viewers, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. And yes, we are in fact recording on Thanksgiving Day because we are crazy and we work on holidays.
Yes, actually, that is true.
Yeah, we're crazy. We work on holidays. But anyway, some things are important for you to know about. Like, Mark, how goes life?
Good. When's this coming out?
The week after next.
The week after next?
Yes, so December 11th.
So, when people are watching this, wow, finally, it's on sale. You can get tickets right now. If everything went right. God, I hope everything went right. Everything will have when gone right.
Everything will be great, good, gone, given, everything.
Oh, so good and so right. That's all I can say.
And you're going to go see the thing that we were referring to right now.
Well, if it's out, then you could say Iron Lung in theaters. Get your tickets now, I guess, is what I could say.
Oh, geez. What a journey that's been, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even if in the yonder year of December 11th, I'm still working. But it's closing in. Really final stretch, last finishing touches.
We're making it there.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny? I wonder how many people failed the Try Not to Cry episode that just aired today.
How hard did they cry? How hard was the hard? How much cry?
I mean, that was the one where we recorded and we talked about Henry and some deep stuff. We had the...
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha. I see.
Yeah,
wow.
So the funniest thing is we had a weird audio issue happen, so we had to re-upload the episode. That was a whole other thing.
Oh, God.
It happens, though. But today we are finding out who and what people and what actions make people assholes.
Yes, it's time for Am I the Sports Asshole Part 2, and I'm kicking it off with a news story.
Ooh.
This story was published November 24th. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, who is just a person, signed a law legalizing sports betting. He now says he's opposed to it.
Why would you sign it if you're opposed to it?
He says now he says.
Oh.
Yes. So it's because his concerns began almost as soon as the law took effect in 2023 after his office received reports that gamblers threatened the University of Dayton basketball team, prompting outreach to NCAA President Charlie Baker and the Ohio Casino Control Commission. DeWine recently emerged as a key player in talks that capped single pitch drop prop bets at 200 and excluding them from parlays, announced earlier this month after Guardians pitcher Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase were indicted, probably for illegal betting. DeWine, who faces term limits next year, says he'd sign a repeal, but believes the Ohio State House lacks votes, so he will keep advocating for voluntary buy-in from leagues, player unions, and sports books. Records show lobbyists and PAC tried to casino operators and gaming companies have given about $130,000 to Ohio State legislators in recent years, which, if you think about it, compared to the return on investment that they must get from all of this gambling that they're allowed to enable, that's got to be a hell. There's some executives, real scumbags, sitting in a boardroom going, what a deal.
This is a steal. We're literally robbing them blind.
Yes, pretty much. And so now, regret.
It's also crazy because people already worry. Remember, we joked about the NFL being fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a whole thing with the New York Giants this past weekend. Were in field goal range and elected not to kick the field goal and thus didn't cover the spread when it came to a gambling bet, thus allowing Vegas to rake in millions of dollars from that game alone.
I mean, wouldn't they rake in millions of dollars per game anyway?
Correct, but they would have lost money on this one because if that had covered, the predominant betting side was for it to be covered, they would have ended up losing money instead of gaining as much money.
Do you think? Okay, let's play devil's advocate. That was what happened. They did get a call from Vegas. Is that what it is? Like they call a timeout. They get it because they got a phone call from Mr. Vegas himself, and he's like, "You better not get this field goal or I'm going to kill your family. Oh, actually, scratch that. I'm going to give you money if you don't. Kill him with kindness. I'm going to kill you with my kindness.
I mean, considering the fact that, like, betting has gotten to a certain point, the thing is, from a complete statistical analysis standpoint and logical standpoint, they should have at least attempted the field goal. Mark, they didn't even attempt the field goal. They punted from the 29-yard line.
They punted?
They punted.
And the field goal would have gotten them the lead?
They were already winning, but the field goal would have had them win the game. Instead, they ended up losing because they didn't have those 3 points.
Yeah, dumb all around. Not 100% sure why that would happen in an ordinary situation.
The only thing I can think is maybe the kicker was injured or something else was going on that people don't, like, we generally don't know, but normally that gets reported.
How far was this field goal?
From inside the 30-yard line.
Inside the 30?
Yeah, they're on the 29.
Okay, so for those who don't really watch football, at this point you should know, in a 100-yard field, 30 means they are within 30 yards of the end zone, which means that they're within 30. How deep is the field? Is the end zone?
The end zone is 10 yards.
Okay, so they're 40 yards away from the big sticks, right? And that's a pretty manageable field goal for the professional level as far as I know. I've never kicked it myself, but I actually have the complete unawareness and confidence to say I might be able to make that. Would I be able to make that?
Probably not. That's a difficult field goal.
Well, I mean, what are my odds? I got some strong legs. I've never really kicked a field goal before, but I can figure it out. It's like landing a plane. If the pilot just becomes incapacitated, I have full confidence that I can go in there and I can figure it out.
I'm trying to find where this punt was. Was it the Giants? Or was it the Browns?
Did you have like a fever dream and you never
I saw it all over social media and I can't remember what exactly happened.
Interesting.
NFL punt inside 30-yard line. The Browns did, but they were winning.
They were winning.
Oh, here it is. Baffling decision by the Browns. Browns Raiders, that's what it was. They punted just outside the red zone from the 29-yard line 3 days ago. The Browns ended up winning, but still made no sense because they would have gone up by additional scores.
Interesting.
A field goal from the 29-yard line is roughly a 40-something yard field goal. And it's usually a high percentage field goal in today's day and age. Whereas a punt, 29-yard line, if you punted to the 1-yard line, it would only be a 28-yard punt.
Which is not very big.
Yeah.
So it's weird. In summary, weird, questionable, maybe illegal.
Yes, so here's the thing. They were up by 14. It was a 2-possession game. If they had kicked the field goal, it would have made it 3 possessions, thus making it have 0 sense why you would punt. Because the field goal would have been 3 scores over, reducing the likelihood of a comeback significantly. The Browns still ended up winning 24-10, but with a minute left, they could have gone up by 3 scores and thus completely iced the game.
That would have been good, but, money.
Yeah.
You ever think about money?
Sometimes when I'm spending it or moving it or looking at my bank account because I need to pay bills, but not gambling-wise, no.
Okay. All right, then. Well, I guess then you're not the asshole.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. Sounds like Mark DeWine was the asshole and is becoming un-assholey.
Well, I think he's got a long way to go before that happens. He hasn't done anything. Yet.
He's spoken one thing.
Yes.
And words only take you so far.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we're reading Am I the Asshole, but these are sport-related, so be thankful. Wait, no, it's not Thanksgiving for them. We're recording this on Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that there are people that are so unaware of their own existences that they can't perceive themselves as assholes. Main character syndrome is rampant, and I'm the only main character in this world that matters, so I'm going to read this and judge it. Will I be the asshole? Will I be? If I pulled out of a sports competition because another teammate was attending. I play for a uni sports team, which is university. We're a small sport, so people get to play most events, but sometimes players are cut if oversubscribed. Also, if we have first, second teams, etc., then Captain Sam makes selections. Joe, has been playing for 1.5 years and is frankly a nightmare. She struggles to process rejection, twists what people say, overblows and catastrophizes. I don't know the full details of her neurological diagnoses, but I know she definitely has some mental processing difficulties. Last year, things were okay. Jo was intense but harmless and keen to learn. This year's another story. She's completely unable to reconcile that she isn't as good as others, as if she reached second year and now expects to be the best. When others get selected over her, she has a meltdown, crying, shaking uncontrollably, unable to form coherent sentences. We once took her to A&E and checked her into a mental health crisis house overnight. I've had gentle conversations with her about how sport isn't always fair, how we don't all improve at the same rate. It's getting worse. Jo has a meltdown at almost every event, and it's exhausting. She has threatened worse, S-word, on multiple occasions. One time she threatened, and so my friend went over to sit with her for hours whilst Jo hurled abuse at her about how she was an awful friend. We have contacted uni welfare, but so far no help. Jo is clearly unwell, but I also see the impacts on my other friends. My view is that we are not qualified to deal with her mental health problems, and next time we should just call a crisis line or 999. Clearly not the U.S. Others are less keen because they would feel so guilty if anything bad happened to Jo. Nationals is in 7 weeks, and myself and others have discussed that we don't want Jo on the team. She will ruin it, and we will constantly be on edge. Another friend defended Jo, saying if we drop her, things will be worse, and leaving her out is excluding. I think she is not mentally well enough to play. I haven't spoke to Sam yet because she's up to her eyeballs in it, and is so sweet and trying to make everyone happy. Whilst I think it would be best if Jo didn't come, I can see why Sam might not want to make that choice. I plan to broach the subject gently and get her thoughts. If she's adamant that Jo must play, then I intend to let her know that I won't be playing. I'm not the only player who's expressed this sentiment. So, will I be the asshole? There's more, but I think that summarizes everything.
This is such a difficult situation.
Yeah.
It does seem like that person needs help and probably shouldn't be in the situation that's causing them these emotional roller coaster rides.
Yeah. But it's not up to everyone else's own mental health sacrifices to deal with that. If there's a situation where someone, well, number one, if they're threatening S-word, then that's...
Yeah.
I can see why they would have checked them into a mental health crisis house or called some services. But that's emotional manipulation of a very high order.
Extreme degree.
It is. Even if Jo, I'm assuming that's not their real name, but even if Jo wasn't intending that, that is still manipulative. You know, if I don't get what I want, I'm not stable enough. You know, it's not a situation that you're in. It's clearly verbal abuse with like hurling insults about how Jo is saying everyone's a bad friend.
Well, especially at the person who's coming over there to comfort them. So they're hurling the abuses at that particular person.
Yeah.
I mean, in this entire situation, it does sound like that person is in a negative energy as a part of the team group. And if they're going to nationals, it does not make sense from a team unity perspective.
Yes.
To have somebody there that causes such distress in other people, because sport in and of itself is physically distressing and exerting, but it is also mentally exhausting. And adding another layer onto that is not good for the team in general. Ideally, it hadn't gone on as long as it had so far, and they could have found a way to be like, hey, you need to go get help. This is not the right environment for you, and figured something out. But it seems like they've reached out to the avenues where somebody else can step in, and they haven't gotten the response that they needed.
Yeah, it's tricky, but also it's not tricky because you can only be so responsible for the other people around you. And if there is someone that is so toxic, and yes, it is, I know that's a harsh term to put, but that is toxic. It's kind of the definition. When you have someone that is poisoning the enjoyment of everything that you like about what you're doing, and you have to change your life to cater to that individual, or else they threaten you, you know, with various things. Maybe not physical violence, but definitely emotional violence in one way or another. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you're not going to be the asshole for that. It's actually a responsible decision to not let them get deeper into this despair pit that they're throwing themselves headfirst into.
This is about like having boundaries and understanding that like you are not a mental health professional, you are not a therapist. If somebody is going through stuff like that, being there for them is one thing, but they need to be able to take that step to realize what is going on. And also you need to just kind of direct them in that direction. You can't put yourself in a situation to where you are brunting the burden of somebody else's entire issues and how they're expressing them and throwing them at you.
So you won't be the asshole. Thankfully, this was 2 years ago, so it's hopefully been resolved.
So we are on to am I the asshole?
Mm-hmm.
Am I the asshole for watching a sports game at family dinner?
This is topical for Thanksgiving. Yes.
Say yes.
I say yes. Oh, can't believe already I'm saying it.
Unless it's like a normal tradition, then I'm inclined to agree.
I'm saying yes facetiously, unless I'm not. I have not read this yet, so lay it on me.
Me and my cousin, Annie, were invited to a third cousin's, Hannah's house for a family dinner with our respective families. We all have children of similar age, 7 to 12, who all get along real well. Annie and my families are really into our sport, and being from Argentina, we were delighted and surprised when they got into the Rugby World Cup semifinals. Argentina were not one of the fancied teams or favorite teams, I believe would be the term in the U.S. The World Cup only happens every 4 years. Accurate fact. Hannah's family are not into sports. It so happened that the semifinals fell on the night of the dinner. Hannah's husband had cooked an amazing dinner with appetizers and dessert. The first half was during the main course, and we kept checking the scores. After the main course, which we probably rushed, we wanted to watch the second half live. Okay. Hannah's children took over the TV to put on a film, and the rest of us watched the game on a laptop. We thought the dinner had gone well. Though we were all disappointed Argentina lost, we all had drinks and lots of mutual joking. Hannah has just invited us again to her place in 2 weeks' time, and had told us that her husband refuses to cook for us as we had not appreciated his meal and watched the match. Are we assholes?
So it's not the wife, it's the husband that's upset.
Yes.
Is he rooting for the other team?
No, it says they're not into sports at all.
It's another situation where listening to our podcast could bring world peace, but, people won't listen to that.
Yeah. It's an interesting conundrum here because you were invited as a guest at their place. They had cooked you a meal, and if you had possibly asked and been like, hey, this is a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Argentina rarely makes the World Cup, something like that, and prefaced it. Is it cool if we have it on in the background or have something going on while we enjoy your meal? I don't know if they were sneaking it, so it looked like they were doing stuff. And then the fact that they rushed through the meal made him feel underappreciated. Seems like a lack of communication.
I think that most problems, communication is always going to be the crux of everything. But I would say that unless it's a loose party where everyone can do whatever the fuck they want, which is fine, that happens. This sounds like a dinner party. Usually the hosts get to say what the guests do. And so if the guests fuck off to another room and watch a game, that would ordinarily probably be something to be miffed about. But it is the World Cup, and it's a really rare thing, and you're probably lucky that they even came over at all, and they kind of wanted to share that experience. So there should be some understanding on both sides here. I don't think anything sounded malicious. Even when they took over the TV for a film for the kids, they went to a laptop. I didn't hear complaints about that, unless they were complaining. I don't know, but maybe. Yeah,
to me, it seems like there's a level of you kind of miffed at his food because you rushed through it and didn't take your time and stuff like that. It simply seems like if you'd just been hey, we didn't expect this to happen. This is going on right now. We'd love to be able to watch the game. Your food was amazing. There's probably you could apologize. There's so many different lines that this could take. If you're not apologetic and you're a dick about it, then yeah, you're an asshole. But if you're oh, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that would be an issue, or you didn't address it beforehand, or because you were invited over to their place and you didn't do what they had planned, or really showcase that you were thankful for everything that they provided food-wise and things like that, you kind of are an asshole.
Okay, what's interesting here is a lot of people, almost every response is that you're the asshole. But even I don't know what exactly took place during this dinner. But in all honesty, I might give this guy a pass.
It's borderline, right?
It's real borderline. Unless I was there, I really couldn't say. They're from Argentina? Is this in Argentina? I can't remember.
they're from Argentina. It doesn't seem like they're necessarily in Argentina.
I mean, in today's day and age, who isn't inviting people over and you got tons of people that are just on their phone the whole time? Isn't that basically the same?
I think it sounds like it's about the same. Like they were on their phone checking scores. And to me, hot take here, but I don't think it's a hot take. If you go on a date and they have their phone out during the date, I'm instantly like, okay, you're not even interested. Why am I here?
Yeah.
There have been psychological studies that exist now that the instant a phone is set on the table, the connection between you and that person drops by a significant percentage because that is a distraction and that is always there. And then if something happens, they're going to reach for it, you know? It's why I try and like silence my phone when I'm doing things. Sometimes I forget when we're recording, but for the most part, when I'm out and about or spending time with people, I try my best to not be on my phone.
Yeah, I think they're naturally with these kind of subreddits. I always think that the communities are extremely biased. They are super judgmental and have for a subreddit that is about trying to put yourself in other people's shoes. I think that a lot of them have a lot of difficulty doing this. And I would not be surprised if some of the people who browse these kind of subreddits are of the type that at a dinner party they are checking this subreddit to see how they can judge others.
Asshole?
There's an addiction to being judgmental, and I think that comes across because here's evidence why. This guy got a lot of downvotes, which is not how these posts are supposed to work. It's only got 2 upvotes with 22 comments. The whole point of this subreddit is you upvote things that are engaging. Not just because you think they're an asshole doesn't mean they earn a downvote. So there's the top comment says, soft, you're the asshole because this was not communicated well beforehand. I can definitely see why the husband felt unappreciated. He just cooked an elaborate meal for all of you and you rushed it. But it looks like this can be mended with an earnest apology. The reply from the poster said, I intend to speak to him at the next event face-to-face and apologize. -6 upvotes. Or
what?
6 downvotes. -6.
What the hell? That's like such a wholesome response. You know what I think it is?
What?
These are all sports haters.
I do think that there is some of that. There are plenty of people out there that like think sports is a waste of time, and they will always be like, of course, you would pick sports over the camaraderie of people. You know, they don't understand.
But it's the same thing as like people saying like video games are a waste of time and stuff like that. It's just a completely different section of people. It's like, oh, sports is this, blah, blah, blah. They're so much more similar than they are different.
Yeah.
That's why I say, like we talked about it, sports people, sports fans, they're nerds. They're sports nerds.
But my judgment is they're not an asshole. My bar for being an asshole is pretty high. I think you have to be an asshole, you would actually have to really cause harm and be super ignorant of it and have nothing to justify your actions. There's just enough here where it's like, rare event. This might be a once in a lifetime thing. I don't know when the last time Argentina was at the World Cup.
I think Argentina, if it's soccer, make it pretty frequently.
Oh, never mind. One of the most successful teams in tournament's history. Asshole! Asshole!
But but there's so many other World Cups. There's Rugby World Cup.
I would imagine it's soccer. There's infinite World Cups. So many. So many. This guy has a master's degree, doesn't know how many World Cups there are.
You've got FIFA. It's like the most common one is the World Cup. I know of rugby. Baseball has a World Cup. Basketball has a World Cup. Cricket, soccer, and I guess there's a World Athletics Championship, which is like track and field.
That's pretty cool.
And then apparently other people like rugby, we mentioned rugby, even professional wrestling apparently that doesn't have a World Cup. Don't give me that. WWE right. World Cup? No. That's a show.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Am I the asshole for spending more money on my son's sport than my daughter's? This is a throwaway account. Some of you are going to think I'm the asshole just based on the title, but I urge you to read to the end. I have 4 children. 3 sons aged 17, 14, and 11, and 1 daughter aged 16. My 2 eldest are both very athletic. My son plays football and baseball, and my daughter plays softball. It's a girl version of baseball for those who don't know.
What? All right, right,
Okay.
now I'm already
Yeah.
leaning asshole
Yeah, all
from
right,
that
okay.
comment.
Okay, all right.
I'm already leaning asshole from
Yeah,
that
yeah.
comment alone.
They're pretty different. My son has a year left in high school and has already been scouted by several universities for football. He has real potential to be drafted in a few years. Naturally, my wife and I spend a lot of money every year to pay for him to have the best training as well as traveling expenses. My daughter, too, is exceptionally good at her sport, but it is impossible for her to become a professional athlete as there is no major league for women.
That's changing.
This was 5 years ago, man.
Yeah.
This was. We pay for things she needs, but I will openly admit that we spend much more on my son's athletic career. I see it as an investment into his future. My daughter's is recreational. My daughter gets jealous every time she notices my willingness to spend more on her brother's career. She sees it as us favoring him, but I don't think it's that way at all. I truly love them equally. My decision to give my son a larger budget is only because he can go pro. If I could afford to spend thousands on them both per year, I would absolutely do that. Unfortunately, I can't. My daughter talked to my wife and said it makes her feel like she's loved less for only being the only girl. A large reason she feels this way is because we put more resources into my son's sport. I understand why it may initially be perceived as unfair, but I also think if you know the full story, then my justification is valid. My house is very divided right now, with my wife and daughter being on the not so great terms with my sons and I.
Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
The statistical likelihood of your son being drafted and going pro is so small.
It's very small, yeah.
It's insanely small.
Yeah.
While you don't see it as a possibility for your daughter to ever have that chance, that does not change the fact that there is clear bias occurring in this situation. And even if it's just bias based off the sport, it's bias.
Yeah.
You are choosing one sport over another sport. You are showing some level of favoritism in the sense of expenditures. Now, the other interesting fact of this is, generally speaking, football is more expensive, equipment-wise and otherwise, than softball is.
Yeah.
But there's an investment in your daughter's future as well. I don't know why I pronounce daughter that way, because scholarships exist. University scholarships exist. There's Olympic-level softball.
Yeah.
Like during this time, and now today, granted not 5 years ago, there's becoming a professional softball league for women's softball. But there's such a promising future for your daughter in the sense of what she learns from the sport in the same way that your son does.
I see it as there's two things here. Number one, it is putting your emphasis on the wrong thing. As far as being a parent goes, no, I'm not a parent. I can't say. I wouldn't know really what it's like to raise teenagers, but I can put my shoes into their shoes and see how it's not just about like him having a career. It is absolutely crushing to your daughter. Clearly this upsets her, and it's not like she's demanding she gets paid flights to everywhere. All and you're right, it wouldn't cost that much money. All you would need to say is, yes, I would be willing to spend as much on your career if it would help you further your ability. I'm not saying you have to hold hand and promise the world not going to make pro, but it's just like to flat out talk to someone and be like, nah, you're not worth it. That's what, even if that's not what he intends, that's what she's hearing. And honestly, I don't think there's much else to hear besides that. It's just like, yeah, you're literally not worth as much as my son because I'm only thinking about this monetarily.
Well, and even if you consider that, like, professional softball players have gotten crazy sponsorships and stuff like that by making it into the Olympics. Granted, there's not like a professional league, but there's endorsements, there's scholarships, there's so much.
Yeah, I would say it's also a monetarily poor decision because, yes, softball scholarships exist. And, you know, if your daughter's good enough to go to college for free, or at least have a significant chunk of it reduced, then isn't that more beneficial to you? Because you would have to pay for it. So, I mean, it's just like, I think it's putting the cart before the horse a little bit. But again, I'm not a parent. I wouldn't know.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you see it as an investment and then it, like, with the small chance on it, it's basically, I would equate it kind of to gambling.
Mm-hmm.
There is a cognitive bias. I think there's a bias that you are not acknowledging for football over softball, especially when you clearly say, by the way, softball, it's baseball for girls.
Yeah, the girl version of baseball.
That's a tire
squeal
line
right
in
there.
of itself made me go, Yeah, you're the asshole.
Yeah. If you're not even willing to see it for anything other than girl baseball.
I think this person needs to go back and listen to our softball primer and learn about the origin of softball, because it wasn't originally for women. It was literally became for women because they were forced out of baseball when men came back from World War II. So you're the asshole. There's no arguing about it at this point. Onwards to the next one. This one is very fitting for a podcast, actually.
Okay.
Am I the asshole for not liking/being into sports? That question alone, not the asshole.
Well, come on now, man. Come on.
I am not that into sports. I don't watch them. I don't play them. I don't read about them. It's not a laziness thing. I'm just not interested. I don't sit around all day long doing nothing. I go on walks, do yoga, and go to the gym. I just don't play sports, and I'm not interested in them. I used to go to a jiu-jitsu class, sport, and after some while, I simply lost interest because my dad was shoving down my throat and just making the sport not fun and putting tremendous amounts of pressure on me. I told my mom, and she started berating me about how I need to man up and how I quit jiu-jitsu just so I can scroll on my phone and laze around. My dad said that I should stop being lazy as I have done this in the past. Same reason. My mom then asked if I could join a school sport, and I said no because after years of my parents shoving sports down my throat, I just became tired of it. She said I was nothing but wasted potential and how she felt slightly ashamed. She always once lectured me about how I'm doing nothing even though I'm in speech and debate and the gardening club. My friends say I should just join track or bowling so I can make my parents happy. And now I'm the asshole for not just playing something. I think I should just join track even though I have no passion for it. Am I the asshole? Sounds like your parents are the assholes.
Yeah, goddamn. Whoa. Hold
let's take a pause here.
Some people need to be told that, hey, that's not normal. Hey, that's not normal.
That's not normal. Like, it doesn't seem like you're not into sports. It seems like you're not into the pressure and the fact that your parents are pushing it on you so hard.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. It's not that you don't like sports. It seems like you were enjoying jiu-jitsu and then it became too much for you because of the pressure and...
No. Gave up.
Gave up, yeah.
A quitter.
Quitter.
Straight up. Can't believe it.
Ultimately, you're not an asshole. Your parents are assholes.
Potato, am I right? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
But here's the thing, too. And this is something, I'll speak to this in a general sense. Just because of what somebody else's views or what somebody else does to you, if you enjoy something, don't give up on something you enjoy. If it's something you enjoy and your dad's putting pressure on you, then be like, yo, I don't want to do this if you're going to be this way. Like,
be like, yo, Pops, what up with that, yo?
Yo, Pops, shut the fuck up.
All right, well, okay, all right. I mean, it might work, might work.
You're the reason I don't want to do this anymore. Like, showcasing the fact that, like, they are causing an issue is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be an awakening for them. Hopefully you have a good enough relationship with your parents to be able to be open and honest with them. I would hope that's the case, but a lot of people, that's not the case.
Yeah.
It does seem like you do like some competitive stuff with debate. So, like, I think there's an avenue where you can find a sport that you enjoy, where you can get away from the pressure that potentially your parents are putting on you to be in it and stuff like that. It almost seems like a rebellious phase more than necessarily you not liking sports.
Yeah.
And also, there's so many sports out there. For all of you here who don't like sports or are joining because you are curious about the comedy and things like that, there are so many sports out there that you don't even realize exist. There's so many avenues for you to find something fun. I mean, tag is literally a sport.
Is it?
It's literally a sport.
Oh, yeah, I know about competitive tag. That's just crazy.
Tag. Yeah. It's like parkour mixed with tag. Mm-hmm. So there's something out there for everybody, I think.
True that. All right, I'm going to do one more. Am I the asshole for not attending my kids' sport games?
Oh, God.
Hear them out. Hear them out. Hear them out. Come on.
I'm thinking yes, unless you have work or something in the way.
Hear them out.
All right.
To be quite honest, I do not think that my kids care if I attend their sports games or not. Because when I was a child, I did not care if my parents attended mine or not. I attended for the exercise and involvement in the structure that motivated me to exercise. And considering my kids are clones of me and therefore must think exactly like I do, I assume he does not say this.
They don't care. Yeah, I know.
I think that too many parents care more about their kids' athletic performance than the kids do themselves. I love my kids. Trust me, bro. And I care about their academics and fitness and wellness. But I just do not want to attend their games for work or other reasons. I pick up and drop them off and attend concerts because they are academic and fewer and may attend an occasional championship. I actually ask my kids whether or not they want me to attend. However, I thought that neutrally asking them might cause them to say yes if they did not mean out of fear of hurting my feelings and not knowing what I was asking. I used to pretend to care about stuff my parents did and say yes when I did not care. So while it seems biased, I told them that I will not be hurt if they do not care if I attend, and I just care that they are happy and do well, and while this may have skewed it, they said no. However, my wife's friends, my parents, and everyone in my life, my coworkers, my counselor, my priest, and my lawyer, my parents are denying that this is the case and believe that anyhow, part of being a parent is watching your kids' games, even if the kids themselves do not care. But I disagree because I have different values and priorities. Am I the asshole?
Yes.
Yeah, when you're loading a question like that,
yeah,
to get an answer you want.
Because here's the thing. Even if your kids say they don't care, sometimes kids will say they don't care because they don't want you to feel obligated or like that you have to be there.
Yeah.
But if you're a parent, wouldn't you want to see your kids do the things that they enjoy and have fun? I don't disagree that there are plenty of parents that are too focused on winning and performance and stuff like that in sports. That's been an issue since the dawn of time. But being there to just watch them have those moments and have success, those are meaningful moments.
And I think that this guy, there's no confirmation because it doesn't say here, is I bet his parents or her parents, whoever this is, attended their games. And let me tell you, kids can care a lot all of a sudden if their parents aren't there. If they are there, it can be a given. You can be like, oh, I don't really care. But then if they're not there, and especially if you got other people on the team whose parents are there and they're complaining like, oh, that's my dad. Just, oh, he always embarrasses me. And then the kid realizes, oh, my dad's not here. Kind of wish he was embarrassed. Then they care because it's not until it's relevant that it can hurt. But if there's no opportunity to hurt, then you wouldn't notice it, right?
It's also like other kids are mean to other kids. And if they see that their parent isn't there, it's be like, haha, your dad doesn't care about you. He doesn't show up to your games.
Yep.
That is a horrible feeling. I was blessed that in baseball, I got made fun of for this too, but my dad was my coach. And that was frustrating of its own right because obviously he was harder on me than most other kids because he's my dad. But at the same time, he was always there, and those are memories that I cherish. And my mom kept score. And you never know, not to get really emotional about this, but the reality is if something were to happen and you weren't there, or if something were to happen to you and they don't have those memories of you being there in those great moments, that's a loss.
It is. I'll say, again, not a parent, don't have kids, couldn't say one way or the another. But one of the things that my dad did is he was at pretty much everything. And I would have to ask, what are you doing instead of attending? Is it important? Is it as important as potentially, missing something? I don't know for, like, yes, you could have a completely open relationship and your kids could definitely be like, I don't care if you're there or not. In fact, I'd rather you wouldn't be there. And that's cool to open up that conversation. Maybe that is the situation here. So maybe there is a way where we could look at this and be like, not the asshole, but the way that he's framing it, the way that he's talking about it, and the way that he has framed a question that he presented to his own children to skew it in a way that he wanted the answer makes me doubt everything he writes, or she. Well, it says my wife, but you never know. It makes me doubt the framing of even this post.
Yeah.
Because if someone's able to frame to their own kids a question to get an answer that they want, there's no saying that the way that they worded this entire post isn't that. Would they tell other people that their kids actually were upset? No, of course not.
Well, and there's a comment under here that I feel is very telling from a kid's perspective. I would never confess to my dad at the time that I wanted him to come because that only made me feel like a burden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's a big telling sign, and that is even if you have that conversation with a kid, they don't want you to feel like they're taking away from your life, or if you have work or something else like that makes you feel pressured to be there for them. They want you to want to be there.
There's a fun comment chain here, which is like, someone said, you're the asshole, you should attend their games, it's what parents do, your kids will be grown out and out of the house before you know it. It's just a few hours out of your week for a few years. Otherwise, when they're 40, they'll throw it in your face and that you never went to their games. They might not. This person responded, the poster said, so then why am I not mad at my bio dad? He lost custody when I was 14 for not attending my games if I was not mad earlier. The response is, why are you projecting your feelings into your kids? Which is another thing that they did a lot here, which was very much, when I was a kid, I did this. Therefore, I'm not saying that the person is a narcissist, but that is a narcissistic perspective to equate your own feelings and blanket sweep like, well, this is probably the most common way to think about things. This is definitely, it is projecting.
There's also the fact that your biological dad lost custody, and there might be a reason for that.
Well, he said he was not mad, so I'm not going to judge that. It's like, it's not mad. He's trying to say like, well, if it changes, like, your child is very different.
But I'm saying his biological dad might have lost custody of him for a reason and thus could not attend his games.
Because that shitty kid wouldn't stop going to games and he had to attend all the time, and that dad just couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't take it. I understand. Not the asshole. In fact, the kids are assholes. I'm going to say the kids are the assholes here.
All kids can be assholes, that's for sure.
Yep, it's true.
They're just deeply honest. You ever have a kid walk up to you and be like, why is your nose so big? Or like, like point out something that you're like weirdly self-conscious about? No,
never. Actually, I've never experienced that.
You're right. All kids approach and be like, wait, are you Markiplier?
Why do they sound scared?
Because you're scary, Mark.
Are you Mark?
You play horror games, so you're very scary.
Okay, that's fair. All right, I got meatloaf waiting for me.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening. We do have merch now, store.gmfst.com. Got some sweet new items available for you. I'm wearing one of the old school items right now. And then if you want to submit other ideas, if you find other options for sports asshole could be, could not be, we'd love to see those. Submit those to the subreddit, reddit.com/r/gmfst, and we'll get to them in part 3, because this is actually a really fun series.
This is not bad.
Not bad at all. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.